Welcome to Turn Right Machine Works. My name is Keith. Today I'm going to start out the video with a little demonstration on how to bring in a JPEG, a photograph of this micro switch into my PlasmaCam software, and kind of how I implement taking this switch and designing the rotary limit switch controls for the center pivots on the carriage itself. Alright, now we're going to be heading into the house because I got a little better screen to do that with, so let's head on in. Alright, we'll start with a blank screen here. This is our table right here. Those dots are all the little points that hold the materials on the table. Now let's go ahead and import a picture here. And this is a micro switch that we're using in our drawing. And we're going to bring this in. This is the first section. It imports a bitmap of the JPEG that you have, and we're just having convert images to vectors, and it's bringing it in at 300 dpi's, black and white. We want the white as the background, and we select solid here. These are default settings here, and it brings the picture in. Now we want to zoom out here, and first thing we want to do is we want to scale this thing to actual size, and I gotta go get my veneers. Alright, we got our scale here, and we're checking the dimension here. We're going to call that 1/100. So we're going to size this, and just pushing S for sizing or stretch. We can grab this here and there. We can type in 1.100, enter, and it shrinks it to size. Now we're going to go ahead and zoom in on that. And these two holes right here are a little bit oddball here, and we want to go ahead and make them true looking round holes. 130 or 0.130 is the size of those holes. So we'll just grab a hole here, and we're going to punch in 0.130, enter, and then that gives us a round hole here, and we're just going to center them over this area right here, and we're going to go ahead and copy that one, and we're going to zoom in over here, and we want to catch that radius right there. Alright, we're going to take this old hole, we're going to delete that and that speck there, and we're coming over here and we're going to delete this here as well. And now we're going to zoom out. Now that roller looks pretty round, but if we wanted to go ahead and make that a true round, because that's the reference, that's what we're using there's a 0.190 is the diameter on that, and we could hit a circle again, 0.190, and we can overlay that right in there. We might as well just leave the other one right there, but we're just going to go ahead. We can add that in there.
Oh, what are you doing?
Alright, now that right there is a sized micro switch, and we're going to marry all that right there. Now we want to verify that it actually did size down equally. The height of the switch here is 620 thousandths. So we want to just check that, and we got a miniature tape measure here, and we can just click it there, and you click it here, and it gives you 0.625. So we're within 5 thousandths of actually measuring that switch correctly. I'm going to live with that for the tolerances that we're going to go with. So there's a finished micro switch. That's pretty much how you can take a JPEG of a switch and bring it in and become part of your your drawing in true size. Alright, and back to the table, and you can see the switch down here. That is its original size. Now, let's go to a drawing that I actually used it in, and it'd be the rotary switches here. Save this, and we don't need to save that. We have our own little switch up here, and here's our switch that we used, and there's the true round holes there. And this outline of this was pretty round. I left it the way it is there. We replaced that one there. And we've already flipped and twisted and turned this one around where we wanted to. And let's zoom back out to the table here. Alright. Down here, we'll zoom in on this. This is actually the two places switches, and kind of how I had it laid out into the drawing. And brought it up full window. Now, I took and I drew out the square, and then I brought in little rectangles. I just took a rectangle. Here's a for instance here, and we just type in our coordinates for our little square, which represents the box tube. So the big square was the OD length and width of the box tube encumbrance in relationship to the center line of the actual shaft. And then that was the 3-inch bore of the shaft, or the OD of the shaft. Now, I laid in some discs in here, and I was able to go ahead. And I mean, because these are the discs I made up. I like this one here. And I actually started with these actually right in place in here to locate my switches at this point right here. And I just overlaid both of them there, and I made sure that they were square. And then I picked up center hole point for those switches there, and then created a slot. I kept them all the same size, and I centered them over those locations so that I had adjustment in and out on those. Now, once I had kind of my drawing around here, what I wanted, I went ahead and removed the switches, broke this down, removed that line, and then came in here and converted this to a cut path. And I don't need to use the sheet, so I said no. Automatically do holes, I said yes. And then that gives you your cut paths for that part right there. And I would join those, and then we go cut preview, and it shows you how it cuts it out. I caught that. Those grooves wouldn't have been cut with that plate move. Okay, now I'm gonna go pick up that outside cut. Alright, we got the carriage set up here on the table, and we're putting this together tonight. We're gonna anchor down our switch plate, which will be holding the micro switches on the two discs that will be mounted to the spindle, and it'll trigger off on the little detents. And we figure we're gonna keep this down here, but we want the motor. And instead of having the motor on up in here, I think we're going to mount the motor here, and then our adjustments going in and out here, and then the chain assembly will be able to sandwich and be comfortable in this area right here. Now, if this was in a full down position, and the TV was fully lowered down, and this will be at the ground, let's say 14 inches up here, basically probably 12, because this isn't going to quite go all the way down to the 14. That would be the upstairs level of the floor. So you can easily get in here and access your limit switches and change out your motor.